All right. So, welcome to Poly Role Models. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Ev'Yan Whitney, and I'm currently living in Portland, Oregon.
Okay. So, how long have you been polyamorous, or how long have you been practicing polyamory?
Um, I let's see. I feel like first I want to say that I don't really identify with the term polyamory all that much.
Okay.
Mostly because of the way that me and my partner practice it. It doesn't really fall underneath. I mean, I know that polyamory is an umbrella word, but for whatever reason, polyamory doesn't really resonate with me that much. So I prefer the term non-monogamous or open relationship, just
Okay.
because I feel like it's able to encapsulate the kinds of relationships that my partner and I have, or the relationships that we're looking for.
Okay.
But to answer your question, we have been open. Our marriage has been open for about maybe 7 years now, officially.
Okay.
And it came about in a very funny way. I had no idea what polyamory was. My husband is white, so when he told me about polyamory, I was like, oh, this is some white people shit. And this is not for me. Like, it's cool if that's what you want to do over there, but I
Yeah.
don't want anything to do with it over here. And slowly but surely, we had a lot of interesting conversations about polyamory, what it meant. And to be clear, like when he was bringing it up, he wasn't bringing it up with the intention of like changing our entire relationship. He was just
Yeah.
like, I met someone and we have a strong emotional connection with each other. And I found a word that kind of expresses how we're experiencing each other right now. And yeah, what do you think? This is really strange, and I don't know what to do with this information. And so, because it wasn't like a do or die kind of situation where it's like, I identify as polyamorous, you either come with me or like our relationship is over, it allowed us both to have space around the definition and even around like what we wanted to do as far as like next steps go.
Okay.
But still, I was pretty adamantly against it. I didn't really want anything to do with it. And then I realized later down the line, I'd say maybe about a year after I first even heard the word, that my own queer identity was starting to come up into the forefront in a really massive way. Like I met someone and I started having feelings for someone.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, okay, this polyamory, non-monogamy thing, um, it's something that could be a viable option for me in my relationship. And so
Okay.
from there, we started thinking about ways that we can practice it ethically.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So, what does your relationship dynamic look like?
Well, I mean, I have a husband, and he is my primary. We both date other people. At this time, we're not really doing much dating because I'm very busy with work, and he's also really busy with work.
Okay.
And I jokingly say that like my business is my mistress because I'm just so like involved in it right now.
Yeah.
But in the past, we haven't really done like dating together. We often date individually outside of our relationship. So
Yes.
I'll have a girlfriend or he'll have a boyfriend. My partner also identifies as queer. So we both use polyamory as a way to explore and express our sexual orientation that we wouldn't be able to do because we're in a hetero relationship.
Gotcha. All right.
Yeah.
Well, what aspect of non-monogamy do you excel at?
Ooh, I think I'm really good at the communication piece,
Okay.
but that's only because like I love to talk about my feelings.
Yeah.
So I feel like I think my husband has a harder time with that because he's more so the type of person that wants to talk about his feelings after they've been processed, and I'm more of like, I feel a thing,
Yeah.
let's process it now together. So I feel like I'm really good at being able to pinpoint the emotions that are coming up within me, so like emotional intelligence, and then being able to like say, hey, I'm feeling this thing, let's talk about it, let's sit down and digest it, process it together.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like the emotional part is a really big piece of it too, because I think that so much of sexuality ties into emotions for me. I identify as a demisexual, and so I can't have relationships, sexual or romantic, with people if I don't feel that emotional intimacy. And so, because of that, I feel like I am really good at being able to communicate my own feelings and like wanting to make sure that my needs, my emotional needs, get met.
All right, I get that. And what aspects do you struggle with?
Oh man, jealousy is a really big one. I hate to say it because it's really cliche, um, but yeah, I mean, there's definitely been moments where, as great as it is for me to watch my partner exploring his sexuality and having a blast with the people that he's with, it does bring up stuff around like scarcity, insecurity, abandonment issues for me,
Yeah.
and jealousy can tend to come up in those instances. I mean, I do feel that jealousy to me isn't this horrible thing. I know that it's been billed out to be like, if you feel jealousy, that means there's something terribly wrong in your relationship. I kind of use it as an indicator to look a little bit deeper, like to interrogate where that jealousy is coming from, and to be able to sit with it and process it and figure out why it's there.
Yeah.
So even though I don't feel very good at it, or that thing feels really challenging for me, it's also a really good opportunity for me to self-reflect and be really critical about like the things that are coming up and the reasons why, because a lot of the times that jealousy is rooted in fear. And
Yes.
so when I'm able to sit down with the jealousy and actually process it, think about it, yeah, it's just some beautiful realizations have come up, and really interesting conversations between me and my partner when jealousy comes up, and we're able to, rather than run from it, but actually like sit with it and
Yeah.
talk about it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And I was going to ask you how you address or overcome those struggles, but it sounds like you kind of did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right. So, in terms of like risk aware or safer sex, what do you or your partners do to protect one another?
We definitely use condoms, and my partner. Well, I'm not on birth control, so and mostly I'm not seeing men or cis men, so I don't really have much of an issue with fears of getting pregnant or anything like that.
Okay.
But we definitely do our best to stay as safe as possible. We have a lot of questions that we ask our partners, like when they were last tested. We make sure that we get tested regularly as well, just to make sure that everything is going good. It's so crazy to be answering these questions because it's been so long since I've been on a date. So I'm like, I'm trying to remember, like, how did I do it? Because it's been, oh my God,
Yeah.
I've been out of the game for a while.
Oh, well. Yeah. I mean, I'm busy too, so I understand.
Yeah.
Um. So, what is the worst mistake you've made in your non-monogamous history, and how did you rebound from it?
Oh man, my worst mistake. Oh man. I think, I don't know if it would be a mistake, but I definitely think I could have responded differently. And that would be, I was watching my partner have some really strong feelings for someone that he was dating. And it led me into a negative spiral of, he's going to leave me, this is not safe, like I'm going to be abandoned, and there's underlying like maybe infidelity going on, because
Yeah.
my mind goes in that area. My response to that was just really, I think it was a little extreme. I think I wasn't allowing myself to see what was actually happening, and also just being compassionate to my partner. Like, new relationship energy is real.
Yeah.
And being able to be like to step back and say, like, okay, the things that are coming up in this situation right now, like, it's new relationship energy, it's not that big of a deal, it'll eventually dissipate. I think it's difficult to have that kind of perspective, and to not like go off the deep end and have like your mind not racing about how things could potentially go. So yeah, I think I could be a lot better about the responses that I have when I see those challenging things come up.
Yeah. Fair. So, what self identities are important to you, and how do you feel like being non monogamous intersects with or affects those identities?
Oh, definitely my queer identity is incredibly important to me. I wouldn't be non-monogamous. I don't think if I was queer or if I wasn't queer, and especially because I'm married to a guy.
Yeah,
So that really changes the dynamic between us. And there's a particular set of things that my man can't give me because he's a guy, and I'm a queer woman. So my queer identity really um, matters and means a lot to me. And I feel like the non-monogamy piece enables me to express that part of my identity in ways that I wouldn't be able to if I were just in a monogamous heterosexual relationship. And then also within that, like I mentioned before, like being a demisexual, which has also been kind of challenging to find people who are willing to do the extra work necessary to have a meaningful relationship with me. In my past, my experience has been that people just want to fuck me and not want to get into the nitty gritty of the emotions
yeah,
and the intimacy in that way. But my demisexual identity is also really important to me, and it's been a really great, I guess, tool for learning about like what my own needs are. Because there have been a few times where I've been like, oh, I shouldn't be so emotional, or I shouldn't require that my partners give me emotional intimacy or emotional availability. And so through non-monogamy, I have found that like that's a very fundamental part of not just like my identity as a person, but just my sexual identity. Um, and then of course too, like I'm black as fuck, and so being able to have that identity be seen and affirmed in the people that I'm dating is incredibly important to me too.
awesome, awesome. So, do you have any groups, projects, websites, blogs, etc., that you're involved with that you'd like to promote?
Yeah, they can find me on my website, sexloveliberation.com. They can also find me on my Instagram, which is Ev'Yan.Whitney. I write a lot about sex and sexuality, and there's a lot of articles on my blog that talks about this process that my husband and I went through in finding out that we wanted to have an open relationship. And it was a little messy and kind of funny, but it was a really great way for me to chronicle that journey and to process it in real time.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time and contributing so much and being open in yourself for Polymer Models.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.